What is this peculiar relationship horror films in the 60s and 70s had with women? From The Exorcist to Carrie to the emergence of the final girl trope, one cannot help but note an obsession with menstrual blood, pregnancy, and sexuality. Many of these films posit a kind of double-edged sword to femininity. Not only are women the ultimate sympathetic victims, but also they may possess strange hidden power that mystifies and terrifies in equal measure. In Rosemary's Baby, not only do we find the progenitor of this feminine horror legacy, it was probably the first scary new Hollywood movie, period. The film was already in development during 1967 when Warner Brothers was blowing people's minds with Bonnie and Clyde, and United Artists was tapping into the zeitgeist of a new generation with The Graduate. Over at Paramount, Robert Evans was attempting to find his footing as the new head of production with his own boundary-pushing project, an adaptation of the Ira Levin novel about a lapsed Catholic woman who may or may not have been impregnated by Satan at the behest of her cultish elderly neighbors. Racy subject matter for the time, considering we were still 4 years away from Roe v. Wade, but Evans seduced Roman Polanski away from Europe to make his American film debut, and the director assembled a crack team of weirdos from John Cassavetes to Ruth Gordon, the latter of which would go on to win the Academy Award, one of the strangest and also most deserving supporting actress wins of all time. And then, of course, there was the waifish, iconic Mia Farrow as Rosemary. One reason she works so perfectly in this role is how thoroughly modern she comes off. The original Scream Queen, ready to usher in a new era of liberation to the American woman in the post-pill era, but still with so far to go to escape the frustrating, gaslighting imprisonment of the patriarchy.
Welcome to Kale Your Idols, a new Hollywood podcast with your hosts,
Sam Ludwig
and Elena Gibson. This is a podcast about film. Primarily, we discuss movies, directors, actors, and writers known for their work during the new Hollywood era of studio filmmaking that began in 1967 with Bonnie and Clyde and The Graduate, and pretty much ended in the early 80s with One from the Heart and Heaven's Gate. In this episode, we are praying at the dark altar of arguably the first elevated horror film, Rosemary's Baby. So, as you, the audience, may or may not know, the book genre of romance fantasy, also known as romantasy, is having a very big moment in culture.
And in this house.
Because I am one of those people who's obsessed with romantasy books. Like, I truly think I'm addicted to the point where it's causing harm in my life, where I am reading and not paying attention to my loved ones, and I'm neglecting my other things that I would like to accomplish with my life. I'm like just doing nothing but reading.
You don't got to pay any more attention to me. I'm good. Don't worry about it.
Well, I would like to pay more attention to you.
Sure, that's fine. Yeah,
well,
go ahead.
Anyways, so I am obsessed with romantasy, and I couldn't help but think while watching this movie, when I'm thinking about Satan impregnating Rosemary via rape, that that this story it could work as a reimagining romantasy story of like enemies to lovers, forced marriage type situation.
These are
tropes. These are tropes.
Specific terms that
romantasy.
Are used in this world.
Yeah, in romantasy, there's like enemies to lovers is a very common thing, and I love it. There's also forced marriage, which I'm not really into, but like it's like a very common thing where people are forced married and then they fall in love after they're forced married. So I can imagine a scenario with Rosemary and Satan, like where she knows about it the whole time. She's like forced into this marriage with Satan, and she's forced to like carry his baby, but she starts to think it's like kind of hot as it goes on. And obviously you'd have to like, well, I don't know. The whole rape thing in romantasy it's the wild, wild
they don't
west.
take it out. They don't keep rape from these stories. They add it in.
It depends.
People love them.
There's a lot of rape in romantasy genre.
Have you not read any Satan fucking books? How can you not have read? You've read a billion of these in the last year.
Satan, gosh, I've definitely read some stuff with
People are just like, I don't want to mess around with that, man. That's bad news.
I've definitely read like some Lucifer, like Dark Angel stuff. I don't know if it's been full on Satan.
Lucifer is Satan.
But like, it's like
like a Paradise Lost Miltonian thing, but that is Satan. I mean, that's pretty much everybody's.
Yeah, but he's not like depicted as I'm the king of all evil stuff.
What is he?
Like he's in charge of, like, I read this one where like the Lucifer he's not a bad guy. He's in charge of taking care of souls while they are atoning for their sins as an important part of life, but he does not relish in evil stuff.
Are we sure Satan is evil in Rosemary's Baby?
The witches, the cult, they seem to think he's pretty great.
What they say about him at the end sounds good. They're like, he's gonna avenge the tormented and the scorned and the damned. I'm like, that sounds good. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe not if you're talking about like truly evil people, but there's a lot of people under Catholicism who've been scorned and damned and condemned to hell by Catholic doctrine that I think could use some avenging by the Dark Lord.
I know that the Church of Satan was founded in 1966.
The Church of Satan is different from worshiping the devil.
Can you explain to me like what the Church of Satan's all about?
It's a troll thing. They're just atheists.
But like clearly that influenced Rosemary's Baby. This was in the public conversation.
No, there's like devil worshipping that was very prominent in people's fears. I mean, you know about satanic panic and stuff, no?
I've heard of that phrase.
Yeah, well, there was this whole period in like the 70s and 80s where people would be like, come home before 8, otherwise you'll get murdered by devil worshiper. Like, people thought there were like fucking devil worshippers everywhere. And
because
they were
of like the Manson murders?
Well, that's certainly something that contributes to it. But yeah, I would say more this movie probably contributed to fears about devil cults rather than the actual Church of Satan, which it's more just about worshiping yourself.
Wait, but I think there's a specific phrase in the movie that comes from the Church of Satan. Year 1. I think that's a Church of Satan thing, isn't it?
Maybe. The idea of the Church of Satan, if it is influencing this, it is being misinterpreted. Unless there was a different Church of Satan.
I'm sure lots of people did misinterpret
Yes, I'm quite certain about that. One thing I do want to talk about with that really quick is I love that the old people are these revolutionary figures. And the younger people, they just want their little 2-car garage, stupid little... wear a little dress and have a dinner party kind of life. And the old people are the 60s counterculture coming in.
I do like comparing the old versus new. Because like you said, yeah, like the older people, they're the ones who are into the new agey medicinal herb stuff, which I associate with more of the hippie thing.
Totally.
Although, I saw the Vanity Fair article pointing out that the main character being named Rosemary calls to mind hippiness because of the 1966 Simon and Garfunkel version of Scarborough Fair, which was featured a lot in The Graduate, where it says Rosemary in the chorus. I don't know
and there's a bunch of herbs in the movie.
Right. But like that specifically, that callback to Simon and Garfunkel and The Graduate adds an extra hippie
presumably
quality,
she was
but
born,
I don't know about that.
About 25 years before that song came out.
It's also, her name is also supposed to reference the Mary Jesus story.
Oh, shit.
Which is why it has Mary in her name.
Yeah, it's a little Trojan horse in there.
Yeah. Like she stares at a nativity scene in a window.
Mm-hmm. I picked up on that.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
Are you being sarcastic?
Yes. What are you talking
Because it's really
about?
obvious.
Yes. What?
Well, I didn't realize it.
You were talking about, this is your second time watching it, and you were saying there was a lot of rewatch value, but that wasn't one that you...
I do really think there's a lot of rewatch value. It's more interesting the second time around, in my opinion.
Do you not want to get to this? What did you think about it?
I think the movie's a little bit boring, to be honest.
Okay.
Like, I think it's a good
movie. Here we go.
I think it's a very good movie. I'm going to have lots of great things to say about it.
Very good movie.
But I wasn't excited to rewatch it.
Right. You did not love it the first time.
No, I didn't. I didn't love it the first time. And I did find it more interesting the second time because it's more interesting watching the acting performances when you know what's going on.
Sure.
Like, it's more interesting watching...
What did you think was going on the first time?
I don't know.
There is a dream sequence really early on in which she seems to be being cultishly raped by Satan.
Right.
So I don't know what you thought the movie was.
No, but like I didn't know that her husband was in on it.
Right.
You know, that's the part.
Even though he's in the group of people who's standing around her.
Anyways, yeah. Look, I'm not a huge Rosemary's Baby fan, but I do think it's great. I'm not going to be shitting on it throughout this episode.
Well, I am a huge Rosemary's Baby fan.
Good.
I fucking love this movie.
Makes me happy.
Good.
Good.
Does it? I'm looking at you trying to tell if it actually does make you happy or if you're just saying that.
No, I for the sake of the podcast,
It makes
I
you happy
love
that
it
I like
when-
a Roman Polanski movie?
Oh, well, we're going to dive into the Roman Polanski stuff. But no, like, I think you can hold two things in your mind at once. You can hold in your mind the fact that he's a rapist.
With Polanski, you got to hold about 60 things in your mind at
That's
once.
true. He's a rapist whose wife was murdered
Murdered by
pregnant
the man's
wife,
family, survived the Holocaust, is a fugitive.
but a huge rapist.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yes.
And it's also true his movies are really fucking good.
And rather feminist.
Yeah.
Too. Like,
yeah,
much
we're gonna
like,
talk about
I mean, much like Woody Allen and a lot of these people, these guys who are pretty fucked up now, they were making movies about women in a time when nobody else really was. And the attention to detail in this movie about the female experience is kind of astounding, I would say.
I agree. Let's just talk about that right now. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a movie about a woman not having control over her own body. Mm-hmm. To the point where, you know, it's literally the reproductive health that's being hijacked. Her doctor tells her, don't talk to people, don't read books, don't just trust us. And everybody wants to control her body. So that's just on its own a feminist concept to make a movie about.
It's all about gaslighting, the whole movie.
Yeah, it's about
and
gaslighting.
the doctor shit, I mean, that's so modern. I mean, like, I feel like the only thing you ever hear right now these days is just women complaining about how much they fucking hate doctors.
Yeah.
And I guess that's just always been the case.
Yeah.
Because they come off as these total evil bastards
Yeah.
in this movie. Going back to the pills versus herbs and don't read books and stuff, it is kind of a great distillation of the naturalistic fallacy. They actually talk about it, and it's like, don't people take pills? It's like, no, but there can be some problems with pills. You should get fresh milk and cheese and herbs from the herb garden. And it's like, this is the same kind of stupid bullshit that people think now, that something, because it's natural, would make it less scary than something in pill form.
Other things about the movie that are like, you know, pretty progressive in terms of the way it depicts women and women's health. First, I'll say the rape scene, it's not gross and exploitative. Did I say that word right?
I definitely go. I typically go with exploitative as opposed to exploitative, but I feel like both sound good when I hear them. I like anybody making whatever choice they want to make with that word.
Okay, well, I didn't make a confident choice when I said
Yeah.
it. I kind of halfway through guessed.
Yeah, but you
the
just
rest
got
of
me
it.
so excited about talking about the concept of that you can pronounce it either way that I don't know. I overlooked it.
But so I didn't think it was that exploitative. No, yeah, I like exploitative better. It felt more trippy rather than horrific.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I like that.
Ultimate dream sequence.
I was ready. I was like, my pen was ready on the notebook to call Polanski out for making like a trauma.
You can't do it, man. He's pretty good at this shit. Like,
yeah,
there's
like,
so many little touches in this, and even stuff like when Guy is at the when they're at the party with their young friends.
yeah. Which, by
And-
the way, the old versus new, I loved. Rosemary was like, I want to hang out with some young people, and
Right.
seeing those young people looking so hip, I
Right.
was like, this is fucking refreshing
Yes.
after all those old people. So they did a really good job of making the young people seem very modern compared to the old people. But anyways, keep going. Guy at the party.
Well, Guy at the party when it's a 5-second scene where he just walks by this party guest who's explaining to him his regimen for how he's like, I like to start off with a drink real strong that gets the girls all crazy, and then I just keep upping it and stuff. Like, Guy's like, ugh. It's just this tiny moment of this guy talking about how he's gonna get
Try and
women
get
drunk,
someone drunk.
and take advantage of them, and it's woven through almost every moment. The expectations placed on women, being a people pleaser, that's like a big, I think, characteristic of Rosemary. She's even people pleasing in the dream. There's the woman who
that's
comes
true.
and she's like, should we change the music? And she's like, oh no, don't change it on my account. She
Yeah.
can't even turn it off when she's in her subconscious.
That's true. I love the part also at the party where she's crying and the guy wants to come in and the women are like, no, she needs to be away from you right now. And they force him out.
And they don't even know.
They don't even know. But like, it was just such like a girl's girl moment.
Right.
The fact that that's shown by a rapist director. It's just kind of crazy. And later, Guy calls them bitches. And you, as the audience, are like,
Yeah.
that's fucked up that
Right.
you did that. Or like the conversation around her period. Minnie asks Rosemary if she's feeling under the weather. And Rosemary says, no, it's just the first day of my period. And that kind of conversation wouldn't happen normally in a movie.
Of the time.
Yeah. Even nowadays, it still doesn't happen that often.
We don't have people randomly mentioning that they're on their period in movies enough.
No,
it would explain a lot of things about characters in conflict.
Are you saying that just to like rile me up?
I mean, I'm making a joke, but can I just say this about periods and stuff? Because I talked about it in the intro that there's all this stuff about periods and female sexuality. Again, this is a post-pill phenomenon. These movies about how horrifying a liberated woman is. But just, I maybe I've said this before in the Exorcist episode, but I've never understood this supposed thing about how menstrual blood's supposed to be gross. It's just blood. Like, I mean, I know that there's like other sorry, we don't need to get too deep into this.
It is, as somebody who has interacted with menstrual blood way more than you have, it's chunky sometimes.
Okay, fine. I'm not going to say that it's not gross, but there's this idea of men not being able to think about tampons and shit. You buy toilet paper for your wife's butthole and stuff. Like, why was it more gross to think about her bleeding? I've never understood this thing.
I have encountered a lot of men's
cliche.
Faces get all weird if I mention period, or sometimes
I think it's just a thing that has been inculcated as like a joke. You're supposed to feel this way. It's like when people started saying they hated the word moist because it was in a bunch of TV shows.
I genuinely think there's good reason to think that period blood is gross.
Okay.
But
I'm just speaking from ignorance then.
No,
I should be more grossed out by it. You're right. I'm sorry.
I appreciate that you're not, and I wish more people weren't. And I think that, it can be gross, but a lot of things in life are gross. Like a lot of sex stuff is gross. It's gross, and you got to deal with it and not act grossed out about it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess people are grossed out by blood in general.
Yes.
So maybe I'm being a little... But it seems so commonplace that I've never understood the supposed shit,
Well, I'm proud of you, Sam.
I'm not going for brownie points here. I'm just saying, like, it's always really confused me, this trope of guys being grossed out by him.
You're just more comfortable with a lot of gross things than the average person.
Yeah, that's probably true. I did put dog poop in my mouth.
Listen to the Pink Flamingo episode if you'd like that story.
Yes.
Another touch that I felt was very well observed in terms of the female experience is when Rosemary gets a haircut. And guy is like, oh, it looks bad. But it's like she did that for herself.
Right.
And like she was taking ownership over her body. And that is just a very like female thing. You want to change? Okay, let's get a big haircut.
It's Vidal Sassoon.
It's what?
I said it's Vidal Sassoon. That's what it is. That's what she says.
I don't even know what that means.
You don't know what Vidal Sassoon is?
No.
I mean, at this point, isn't it like shampoo or whatever? I mean, was it maybe in the 90s and it's not anything anymore? But I assume it's from, I assume it was like a big stylist in New York in the 60s and the 70s. Like, I don't even know. Okay. Anyways, this is just going to be me trying to talk about girl stuff, and maybe it'll hit and maybe it won't, and you maybe knowing about what I'm talking about or not.
I don't know anything about fashion. You're not a big hair
person. Yeah.
I do not know anything about fashion. I've got 3 siblings, and all 3 of them are very fashionable people, and I'm the only one who wears baggy T-shirts every day.
You could try a little harder.
I could. It's true. So could you.
Yeah, I agree. I could try harder. I bet like one of us will become more fashionable before the other one. Who do you think it's going to be? I bet one of us will have the breakthrough and be like, you know what? It's going to be now. I wouldn't be surprised if one of us beats the other one to suddenly developing an interest and an acuity for fashion. And who do you think it's going to be? You or me?
It's going to be you. You get super into these trends. You're like, I'm going to do this thing now. Like currently you're giving up weed and coffee, like that's your big thing. And like, that's great. But I don't really get into those modes.
Yeah, you're just going to muddle on for the rest of your life. Never changing, never growing, honey.
Yeah. I'm kind of just a boring person.
No.
Why don't we go ahead and talk about her fashion?
Oh, sure, but there's a couple even more.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Stuff. This movie has a depiction of marital rape way before that was a law, or there was laws against it in the United States. I don't know about New York specifically, but yeah, it gets into that, and it's in a. I mean, it's not like it hits it so hard, but it definitely hits it in this. She's like, "What? What the fuck did you do?"
I actually thought that was the scariest, most horrific moment. So it's a scene right after the dream sequence of when she's semi-aware of being raped by Satan. Sorry, we should have given a trigger warning, I guess, that we're using the word rape in this, and we're talking about rape. But we're going to continue to do that. Trigger warning. Sorry.
Are we going to say trigger warning every time?
I should have said it in the beginning of the episode.
Okay. Every time we talk about trigger warnings, we're both just like...
No, you are doing that. I am like, oh, I should have.
I am not doing that. You are smiling the whole time. You are laughing about it and stuff. As you right now, look at your face. You have a grin as wide as a pumpkin.
I'm just excited to be talking on the podcast.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, anytime we talk about trigger warnings, it's very disingenuous, I think, or like, not that the sentiment isn't genuinely felt, but we talk about it in this like, oh, I guess we should have done a trigger warning thing. We just
genuinely,
I am not saying
genuinely
you don't believe
feel like I should have said one earlier. I'm genuine. I'm not disingenuous about it. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. All right, so it's a scene right after she's vaguely aware of being raped by Satan. She wakes up. She's like, what happened last night? And her husband tells her that she passed out from drinking too much. And then she notices the scratches on her body. And he's like, oh, he says like sheepishly, like, I just couldn't help myself. And he's got this.
No, he says, don't worry. I already filed him down.
Oh, right, about his nails.
Yeah, he's planned this whole thing. I can't wait to talk about Cassavetes, but...
Yeah, he's just got this weird smile on his face, and she's like, what? You've slept with me while I was unconscious? And he's like, oh, sorry, yeah, I just couldn't help it, you know?
It was weird, but it was kind of hot in a necrophiliac kind of way. Because once you know that he's manipulating her, as what he is lying about something arguably worse, but he's doing it by confessing to this dark thing in a creepy way. He needs to, because he's an actor, he needs to portray all of the aspects of what he would really be like in this scenario if he'd done that.
It is, in my opinion, the creepiest moment of the whole movie, and that is the most horrific of the movie is the fact that not this horrible thing is happening to her, but that her husband set her up for it.
Right.
Somebody who she's supposed to love, or somebody who's supposed to love her and who she should be able to trust. And it's scary.
It's a weird version of banality of evil with him too, because he is taking on this role with great relish as an actor. The character's an actor, and he's playing it very multi-layered. I say multi-layered every fucking episode. He's really adding a lot of different dimensions to this fake character that he's playing, even though there's also, he is himself tortured by it and he's trying to fight through that. But at the same time, he's rationalized the whole thing. He's like, no, this will be fine. This won't ruin our marriage. We will just give the baby up and we'll be able to have kids later. He doesn't think that this is as great a betrayal. He knows it's a great betrayal, but he thinks this will be good for us in the end. And she doesn't have to know.
Because she'll just go through something shitty for the pregnancy,
right.
But then the baby will be gone and it won't affect her life moving forward.
Exactly.
Is the idea. When you put it like that, it's like, well, if you told her first, maybe she would have been down for it.
Yeah, or if she'd have more effectively manipulated her, which it does seem like this conspiracy could have been kept better. They keep the baby next door.
Oh, yeah, that was stupid. Like, take the baby somewhere where she can't hear her crying.
And, like, I love the stupid Fred with glasses, Ruth Gordon's friend, who it's like this. What do you remember her name, the character?
The one who sticks her tongue out at her.
Yeah.
Later when she doesn't get to rock the baby and Rosemary gets to rock the baby.
Yeah, but she just keeps making all these, like, almost slip-ups that it's like, are you forgetting that you're a fucking part of a satanic conspiracy, lady? You do not seem to be a good person to have entrusted this secret with and to come hang out with the woman who you're deceiving.
Okay, you said that Guy seemed tormented by this whole thing. He didn't seem that tormented to me. Like, he was convinced very quickly.
No, but like, there's nods to his torment when she's like, you can't look at me.
Oh, I think he's grossed out by her.
Right.
I think he's like creeped out, but I don't think he's... I don't feel like he's that guilty. Aside from the fact that he hides at the end, at the final scene, when she walks in on the whole cult, he's like hiding in the corner. But I feel like it's more like he doesn't want to like get yelled at and he knows he did something wrong. Yeah. He doesn't seem like he's that tormented by his guilt. He just seems a little like grossed out.
Yeah, I mean, he is a bad husband in general. I guess being an actor just kind of makes you that way. I'm sorry, honey.
I feel like I could have gotten more of him being a bad husband because throughout the movie,
they edited some out.
Well, like, I don't know. Like, throughout the movie, she is telling her friends that he's never around, he's being neglectful, and we didn't see that much of that. She's telling rather than the movie showing. And I felt like there could have been more scenes of him being a little weird towards her.
I don't know. I think he is really weird. For me, okay, so I guess I'd had it spoiled for me that it was the son of Satan, but also just, it's obvious what's going on.
But again, for me, I think the big thing that has the rewatch value is knowing that Guy is in on it the whole time. Her husband being in on it.
And I can't be 100% sure if I knew that the first time watching it, but there's so many squirrely moments with him, how he immediately switches from hating old people to being like, oh God, they do suck. I'm going to go hang out with them tomorrow, though. That guy's got some great stories. And when she gives him the tannis root thing and he's like, ugh, it smells bad. Not too bad, though. If you took it, you should wear it. It's just so not quite fake because he's just playing it brilliantly real in this smarmy way. I do think that he seems cooler in the beginning of the movie and he immediately becomes very lame.
I don't even know. There's sex scene in the beginning. Are we supposed to think that it was sexy and hot and that they had a good connection? Because it just felt a little awkward to me.
Well, but I think that's part of what I liked about that is that's just like married people sex. I liked the disrobing, how they're taking off their clothes. It did really freak me out and immediately make me very suspicious of him, the fact that he wanted to turn off the lights to have sex with Mia Farrow. What's going on with this guy?
I just always thought, I remember thinking it was weird the first time somebody wanted to have sex with the lights on. I thought that everybody had sex with the lights off. But I'm also somebody who closes my eyes during sex, so it doesn't really make a difference to me. Anyways.
And I stare, eyes wide open, not blinking.
You know, Mia Farrow, they originally wanted to cast somebody who was full-figured.
More buxom and all-American.
Yes, corn-fed.
Corn-fed, yes.
Like Tuesday Weld, who I don't know who that is.
Or Sharon Tate.
Or Sharon Tate, yeah. Because I think that's how she was described in the book. And I think that the idea is that there'd be a more dramatic change of her being like very healthy looking and then getting very sickly throughout the pregnancy. They still did a great job of making Mia Farrow look very sickly partway through the...
Did she somehow actually lose some weight?
I don't know.
Because she looks skinnier, even though she's never anything but ectomorphic.
Yeah, I have no idea if she tried to lose weight for it.
Good makeup,
but it was good makeup for sure. Yeah, so Polanski wanted like Sharon Tate or, like I said, Tuesday Weld, who I assume is just like some big-chested actress. Let me look a picture of her. Sure, yeah, she looks healthy.
But I also think, though, that this is getting back to the modernity of Farrow versus this older idea of feminine sexuality.
Yeah, because Mia Farrow looks like Twiggy, very in right at that moment, the iconic supermodel. Mia Farrow's look was very now. And they went with Mia Farrow because Robert Evans, head of production at Paramount, I think he was head of production. Robert Evans felt like they needed a big name, well-recognized name for the movie because the movie's based on a book, but the book had just come out. Like, they purchased the movie rights before the book was even published. They bought them based off of the book Galleys, which is like, you know...
Yeah, when I was reading this, I was like, what is Galleys?
I had to Google it.
I mean, I know what Galleys is, but I was like, what do they call it?
Like, why early copies.
Right. I still don't know why it is the Galleys.
So he felt like they needed a well-known name to draw people in. And so they went with Mia Farrow, even though she wasn't a movie star yet, but she was known for her role in Peyton Place. And then I think she was also in the public consciousness because of her marriage to Frank Sinatra, who was 50 when she was 21. When
scandalous. Is she reading Yes, I Can by Sammy Davis Jr. as a nod, do you think, to her Frank Sinatra association? Which they got divorced she was served with papers on the set of this movie.
Yeah, because he was mad that she was cast because he didn't want her working after they got married.
Well, no, it was specifically because supposedly there was that, but no, she was also supposed to be in his movie, The Detective. You know, he wanted to be controlling of her. Apparently, she gave him the script to read, and they were in bed, and she's just like sitting there looking over and watching him read it, desperate to find out what he thinks, and she says he slammed it closed and goes, I don't see you in this part. And she's like, oh my God, he's right. He totally got in her head, as with spouses can do sometimes.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I've gotten in Sam's head about stuff. Yeah, Robert Evans convinced her. She almost tried backing out of the picture partway through when Sinatra served the divorce papers, but Robert Evans convinced her to stay in the picture because he said she'd get an Oscar nomination if she finished the movie. She didn't. But
no, he
I think it was
said
good for her career, though, overall.
Yeah, I would say she got a lot out of it. He said in an interview, Evans, he was like, she was wonderful in the part, and I believe she got an Oscar nomination for that. I was like, yeah, you don't fucking remember.
She got a Golden Globe nomination.
Yeah. By the way, could we take a second to note this? Mia Farrow has no Oscar nominations. What the fuck? That's insane.
Sam had to lean back for that announcement.
Yeah.
To make sure
It's
they didn't blow
flabbergasting.
the mic out. It is crazy.
She's one of my favorite actors ever.
What do you think she should have gotten an Oscar nom for?
This, Broadway Danny Rose, probably Purple Rose of Cairo.
Yeah, sure.
Those three movies,
Yeah.
I think.
No, she is great.
She's underrated. I mean, famously underrated, as Woody Allen always said.
Problematic person, of course, but
Sure.
but great actress.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I love her. I find her incredibly compelling. I think that this character could be annoying, and I think it is annoying to some people.
The way she plays it, or just the way the character is in general?
Well, I think for a lot of people that's a difficult thing to distinguish, but the naivete.
But
again, that's the point of she's being, I don't know. But
I disagree because she
Right.
really does go out of her way to try and fix things on her own. She goes to the other doctor, packs a bag. She's ready to leave her husband. You're cheering for her at that moment, but then there's that scene with Charles Grodin, and then it's just so heartbreaking when he seems like he's believing her, but then calls the other doctor.
Well, what I love about that dynamic, where the moment that he seems on board. He says, I don't believe in cults, but there's a lot of crazy people out there.
Right, that seems believable.
But then he asks her, who's your doctor? And she says, Abe Saperstein. And he's like, Abe Saperstein? Everybody is so fucking blinded by this guy's celebrity because he was on Open End with David Susskind. Everyone fucking knows this guy because he was on TV. That is the thing that is the downfall, is that they have a famous obstetrician friend. He is their ace in the hole.
I can't stand that shit. Being a scientist, I've met many big name hotshot scientists, and a lot of them are assholes, or I'm not super impressed with some of their contributions when they ask questions or give feedback in a seminar, for example. I hate the idolizing of a big name thing that happens within the medical and scientific world. It's very annoying.
Yeah, I mean, I guess this would have been a time when maybe there would have been some revolutionary new developments in obstetrics. What do you call it?
I'm not a doctor. Well, I am a doctor, but I'm not that kind of doctor.
Is that the first time you've ever said that?
Yeah.
That was pretty fun, wasn't it?
That's the first time
That was
ever.
good.
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor. I mean, I am a doctor.
I've definitely said I'm not a doctor plenty of times, so that was the first time it's not been true.
You had to correct yourself. But, oh, look at you. You're so cute.
My face is getting red.
You're almost about to cry.
Story of my life.
But, yeah. No, but Saperstein, why is he famous? What is the hook there? He does talk a game that is similar to a certain kind of skeptic scientist, famous guy now who's don't read the book. I'm smarter than these books. Life is more complicated, and yet you're also worrying yourself too much. He's got a good bedside manner in the first meeting.
He's charismatic. He's
charismatic.
convincing.
Right. He's a TV doctor.
This concept of a well-known doctor,
Right.
that's a New York thing.
Yeah, and lawyers and shit. His name's in the papers all the time.
Yeah, I don't think you have that in other cities.
Right. And do you want to talk about the New Yorkiness of this movie?
Yeah, let's talk about the New Yorkiness.
We just talked about Dog Day Afternoon, one of the great New York movies, and this is a great New York movie of a different kind.
Except I think it's kind of a cheat because it's only really the exteriors that are filmed in New York, and the rest are on sound stages in LA.
The New Yorkiness of this movie comes from the way the characters are, the obsession with real estate, the theater district, the weird thing that all New Yorkers have all this weird knowledge of buildings and political history and, the history of places and stuff. That's a real thing. People know about that, their civic local lore more than people do in other cities, I think.
Yeah, and the exteriors, it's specifically the Dakota building in New York.
A storied building, yes.
Yeah, why is it so famous?
John Lennon got shot in front of it?
Okay, but that was after Rosemary's Baby happened, right?
Yeah, but I mean,
why else is it
Rosemary's
famous?
Baby was filmed there. It's a cool looking building. You can tell that it's a building that's had a lot of history. It's historically been a home to artists. And
right, that must be why
intellectuals.
Lennon stayed there in the first place.
Yeah.
I feel like I caught you there with that Lennon thing.
No, I just wrote the Dakota into a script.
Oh, really?
I feel. Do you feel like maybe he wanted to live there because of Rosemary's Baby, and that maybe that cursed him?
Like, it's Rosemary's Baby's fault that Lennon got shot?
I mean, that guy did shoot him because of a book. So I don't know what that says, but Rosemary's Baby was a book.
It's all fucking connected, man.
Yeah, they were talking about how when they were filming the final sequence where they're saying "Hail Satan," people were like, I don't know, you guys, we're messing with some spooky stuff here. Like, and Mia Farrow talked about, she's like, I'm so glad I didn't have to say "Hail Satan," because she is a Catholic. I mean, like she is like Rosemary in some ways, but they were just like, we're playing with some spooky forces, people.
I don't know, like when you were younger at a sleepover, if your friends, did they ever try to get you to like say Bloody Mary 3 times, or those kinds of things where you just say something out loud?
Yeah.
Were you're probably one of those kids who's like, I'll fucking do it, no problem.
Well, I mean, so this is opening up so many topics with this movie now, but so I am a person who's generally not frightened by stuff, especially in movies.
Yeah.
I feel like you're increasingly discovering that this is more true of you than you might have thought.
Yes,
too.
I used to have nightmares very easily, but the more I watch horror films, the less they scare me. And I'm sure that's true of anybody. The more you watch horror films, the less you get scared.
I suppose that's true. I think that is part of the reason why I love this movie so much, which is not particularly scary. I don't need it to be scary. I just like that it's really fucking beautiful and well done and psychologically interesting, has all of these incredible artists in it.
Yeah, Dick Silbert, the production designer of the movie, called it the greatest horror film without any horror in it. And the cinematographer, William Fricker, and Roman Polanski argued a lot because Fraker wanted it to be shot more like a traditional horror film, whereas Polanski wanted it to be more of a human study. Later on, Fraker, the cinematographer, was like, okay, Polanski was correct to insist on it being more psychological film rather than a horror film. I do not think it's scary at all. It's disturbing a bit, but
I love the part in Mad Men when they go to see, when Dawn and Megan go to see, there's a whole Rosemary's Baby storyline on Mad Men. They do a parody ad of it. And Dawn takes Megan, who's, a 26-year-old potentially worried about being trapped in this marriage. And when the lights come up and Megan's just like, that was really scary. I just think that's funny.
Pauline Kael said she thought it's genuinely funny, yet it's also scary, especially for young women. So yeah, I could imagine some women really feeling the horror of it. I personally am not scared by like pregnancy-based horror. I don't know, it just doesn't freak me out that much.
You're not scared? Like, what if you found out that everything was like a lie with me and that I was just playing this part perfectly?
Well, that's not pregnancy-based horror. That is, again, like I said, the freakiest thing for me is finding out your partner has been lying the whole time. And that's a big
part of it, though.
That does freak me out, yeah. But it's more of, if you think about it, it's kind of scary, but the imagery itself isn't scary. Like the scariest imagery, in my opinion, there's this one shot of that dresser in front of the closet door, and just the way that it's shot, I just thought it was actually really creepy. But in general, there's not a lot of horror imagery. And then famously, they don't show the baby in the end.
Yeah. I do think that's scary when the music comes in. It's like funny but scary too,
Yeah, okay.
Because it's not like a spooky hit, but it's not like a crashing hit, but it's...
Can we talk about the funny thing? Because Pauline Kael called it genuinely funny.
Yeah.
You just said that sound effect when she first sees the baby is funny, which I kind of also think so too. It's
unexpected.
It kind of sounds like somebody like laughing almost.
Yeah.
Let's put the sound effect in right now. Okay, so that's the moment when Rosemary sees the baby. And that whole final scene is a little silly. Like, I
think it's intentionally funny.
And I guess I think so too. Like I said, there was that woman who sticks her tongue out at Rosemary. Yeah. A woman is sitting there with a black cat because she's a witch.
Right.
Like, guy is hiding in the corner. It's all of that. And then I guess just the concept of a guy selling his wife out for getting a Broadway hit.
Yeah, and he gets to be a series lead on Miami Beach.
I like that they even name drop Paramount when he talks about getting famous.
Right.
I'm like, okay, good one, Paramount, because Paramount produced this
They
film.
were trying to boost their stock.
But I do think its tone is weird. Jordan Peele says that Rosemary's Baby is his favorite film, and he used it as tonal inspiration for Get Out, which
I could see it.
Kind of has a similar
Yeah, Get Out is also very indebted to the Stepford Wives. Definitely an Ira Levin thing going on. A social drama horror guy. Like, Ira Levin, I guess, is kind of the person who created that. This real explicit, and yet not fully explicit, but, talking about feminism and...
Yeah, sure. I want to read his books. I feel like if that's multiple books that got turned into famous movies, I want to check them out. I hear they're pretty good. I didn't have another
I'm just making a connection. Well, obviously the movie's also funny because of Ruth Gordon.
Oh, her performance?
Yeah, that performance is sort of funny.
Yeah, so Ruth Gordon plays Minnie Cassavetes, who's, one of the neighbors, and she's got the funny voice. Can you do a impression?
Oh, well, you just gotta have honey, it's plain old Lipton's. And she has the thing where she'll be like, oh my God. She doesn't pronounce her words perfectly. And the brilliant thing about her performance too is it's this practiced indifference where it's that old person thing where she's always doing something and paying attention to something else while completely zeroing in on what you're talking about and yet also seeming like she's not paying attention.
Yeah.
Which is something that is not able to be reproduced in Apartment 7A, the prequel, in which Diane Wiest takes on this role. And
Even though you like Diane Wiest.
I love Diane Wiest in general, but they make her look at the female lead too much. Talk to her directly in a way that Ruth Gordon's never doing. It's glancing off her.
Yeah, Ruth Gordon, she has this side eye, over the top, but also shrewdness going on the whole time. And it is very impressive. She crafted the accent for this movie and then used a version of it later in Harold and Maude, because she's the old woman from Harold and Maude.
Right.
But yeah, it's super awesome that she won Best Supporting Actress for this role. I mean, she'd been acting for over 50 years before winning her Oscar.
She's a playwright and a screenwriter.
She acted in silent films.
Yeah.
She had a huge career, but wasn't really recognized
until she was
fully
old.
Until 72. It's amazing.
There were so many creative people involved in the movie. You had Ruth Gordon, Cassavetes, who was a director himself, William Castle, a director who's producing.
Yeah, can we talk about that? So William Castle, Sam, how would you describe William Castle if people don't know who that is?
The word schlocky was seemingly invented for him. He was a B-movie producer. He made movies that typically, from the early 60s, that typically horror movies that typically relied on a kind of gimmick. Famously, his movie The Tingler was about this murderer who's shocks people or something, and the seats vibrated in the theater. He would goose up sales by promising some special gimmick.
Gave audience members a gift certificate for life insurance in case they died of fright in the movie theater for one of his movies.
Is that The Screaming Skull?
I don't remember that.
I can't remember. There's some movie where it's we'll pay you for a free coffin if you die. Yeah.
He was an idol of John Waters.
Right.
Which you could obviously see.
There's a movie called Matinee with John Goodman playing a version of William Castle, I think, that I've never seen, that always looked kind of cool.
So, William Castle, he was pretty successful doing this B-movie gimmicky thing for a while. But he said, my small empire was beginning to collapse. And by 1967, I was ready to throw in the towel. Desperately, I started to search for the miracle that would save my career. I had to find something, anything, or I'd be out of the business. Then, from heaven, the miracle appeared. Or was it from hell? So he was desperate to direct an A-list picture because he'd been this B-list movie director for so long. And he really wanted to make an actually good movie. And so he mortgaged his house to buy the rights to Ira Levin's book.
How expensive are those rights?
I have it.
You need to mortgage your house to buy the rights?
I think it was $120,000 or something like that.
Holy shit. I mean, I guess it's a hot book. There's no book that you could sell for that much, I don't think, the film rights at this point. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass, but I also probably don't really understand how mortgages work.
Okay, he bought the film rights for $100,000 with an additional $50,000 if the book became a bestseller. Because the book did become a bestseller, he essentially bought it for $150,000.
He had to pay another $50,000 if the book's successful?
Yeah, because at the time it wasn't even published.
Wow.
And so then William Castle had the rights and then approached Paramount to try and get them to move forward with it. But
Evans knew he wasn't the right man for the job.
Right. He wanted, again, to direct it, and apparently studio chief Charlie Bluhdorn laughed in his face and called him a big, ridiculous clown.
You're a big, ridiculous clown would be about how that would sound coming out of Charlie Bluhdorn.
And Robert Evans also agreed he shouldn't direct, and he wanted Roman Polanski instead. But they struck a deal with Castle, and they said he would get $250,000, 50% of the profit, and the chance to produce and direct as long as he met with Polanski first.
Got 50% of the profit?
Yeah.
This is a huge hit.
I mean, he had the rights, you know, and he was the main producer. So he agreed to meet with Polanski, and he was impressed with Polanski and decided to go ahead and let him direct it. He was frustrated and felt like he was pushed aside. And I feel really bad for him because, he had these dreams of like making an A-list movie. And shortly after the film's release, he suffered from kidney failure. And by the time he recovered, his momentum was totally lost. And so he just went back to making B movies, and he never really made it as an A-list movie director.
Which, come on, I mean, he never would have.
Because maybe he is just like a big, ridiculous clown.
Well, but what's weird about this is that this, as we said, this is the beginning of horror's becoming an A-list thing. So the idea that William Castle was going to be the person who was going to have the vision to create this new form of horror movie. Maybe I'm underselling him. I don't know. It's just like he would be like one of the weirdest people to assume to create elevated horror.
But maybe he would have been great at it.
I mean, I feel like he like created de-elevated horror in a way.
But if he...
Maybe only the person who thinks that way could think the opposite way.
Right, but if he knew specifically, like, oh, I'm going to do something different than I normally do, I'm going to make an A-list movie, then that means that he knows the difference between a B movie and an A-list movie. Yeah. So I would have liked to see what he could have done. Maybe not with Rosemary's Baby, but I wish he had gotten that chance to shoot a shot.
Like the old, only a true smart person can play dumb?
Sure.
Which is not true at all.
But he couldn't resist doing a gimmick. And so when they cut Mia Farrow's hair for the film, he made it into this huge thing with red carpet and velvet ropes and invited the press to watch from the bleachers.
Oh, watch her get her haircut?
Yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah.
You know, they marketed this movie. Evans told this story again. Now I'm just kind of thinking like everything that Evans says is bullshit because he thought Mia Farrow got an Oscar nomination for this. He was saying that the advertising department didn't know how to market the movie. They were like, we have literally no ideas. The studio, basically after they finished the movie, did not want to release it, according to Evans, because they didn't have any idea how to market it. So he went independently to his friend who was the head of an ad agency. And he said, what would you do? And the guy said, look, this is a hard movie to sell. I'm not going to charge you for some whole campaign, but I have this one poster idea. And if you buy it, you're going to pay me $100,000. And so that he showed it to Charlie Bluhdorn. And Bluhdorn was like, $100,000 for this? And the campaign was just the poster, which is a great poster. The baby carriage on a hill with the green background. And it's the slogan, pray for Rosemary's Baby. And they said it was the ad of the year.
Yeah, I think it's okay poster.
You don't like the poster?
I don't know.
That's like the template for all of these horror movies. You know, the shadowy black contrasted with some bright light source.
If I saw that poster, I hadn't seen the movie before, I didn't know anything about it, I wouldn't be excited to watch it.
Well, but again, you have to think about the idea of... I mean, you know, we're only 5 years away from Vatican II here. Just the way that religion is being twisted. Right. And also childbirth. The idea of what's going to be wrong with a baby? You're telling me there's something wrong with this baby? That's a perennial fear for people. Weapons just kind of capitalized on this.
Yeah.
You don't think the idea of a possessed baby is scary?
No, again, the pregnancy-based, baby-based horror, it just doesn't...
It's not my jam generally. This one I like because you don't have... It's not about the creepy kid. I guess I kind of liked Village of the Damned. Did you ever see this show?
No.
That's another movie that's an earlier abortion pregnancy. It's about like an alien force that like impregnates a bunch of women in a town all at the same time. They all pass out and wake up pregnant. And it's one of those things like this movie. This movie's kind of straddling the line that's about abortion but not about abortion.
Right.
Because, yeah, I mean, they just made that prequel Apartment 7A last year, and so Rosemary's Baby comes out in 1968, Apartment 7A comes out in 2024, and it's just whenever abortion is in the conversation, or you know, the fear is like not being able to have an abortion, right? And Rosemary doesn't even seem to want an abortion, even if it was Satan's spawn.
Well, but the whole time she thinks that even when she starts to figure out what's going on, she thinks that they're trying to steal her baby to use in a satanic ritual.
Right.
She doesn't think that it's Satan's baby.
Yeah.
That's the thing she doesn't realize until the end. And I think that's why she doesn't even consider an abortion. Like, the whole time she's trying to protect her baby.
She wouldn't either, though. But in the end, she chooses to not. I mean, she wants to be the mother to the baby, so I don't think she would ever have the abortion is the thing. It's a pro-abortion movie in a way because it's like, oh, man, if you don't get an abortion, like, evil Satanists are going to make your baby Satan, the Antichrist. You got to get an abortion, lady.
Yeah, I mean, I do have to say, like, if I were pregnant and I realized it was Satan's baby, I would have an abortion. If I didn't realize it was Satan's baby until after I gave birth and I was looking at that baby, I think I would also choose to raise that baby.
Really? Boy moms, man.
I mean, even if it was a girl baby.
But she thinks it would be nice if the first one was a boy. I love it when she says that.
It's just like a baby. It doesn't even matter if it's Satan's baby or not. You can't, what's that sins of the father to the kid phrase?
Right.
Help me out here.
You're saying if time travel somehow got you pregnant with baby Hitler and you knew it was baby Hitler,
I'd be like, I can
fix
help
him.
this baby. Yeah, I can fix this baby. Like, this baby was just not raised
What would
correctly.
be your plan for raising baby Hitler?
Teaching him love.
Make him do lacrosse?
Compassion. I promise you, Hitler's parents were shitty. So I really do think with a better mother, Hitler would not have been the person he
had a lot of compassion for the German people. He just wanted to help them.
Okay, let's talk about Cassavetes.
Okay, great. What's your take on Cassavetes?
I thought he was great. Again, though, I was
referencing the La Tigre song, by the way.
Oh, sorry. It's a pop clip in there.
Yeah.
What's your take on Cassavetes? What's your take on Cassavetes? What's your take on Cassavetes? What's your take on Cassavetes?
Okay. I, again, wanted more scenes of him being weird or, like, obviously neglectful. But, again, the rewatch value I was talking about, it really is Cassavetes' performance in particular that stood out to me as being very entertaining to watch. One moment that was very fun to watch is when he first meets the neighbors. Mm-hmm. And Rosemary's in the kitchen with Minnie, I think. And then they go and meet up with Roman and Guy. Guy is Rosemary's husband, played by John Cassavetes. They meet up with them in the next room. And it's his first conversation alone with Roman. And his face is shocked and scared and confused, but also excited and reverent. And it's just so many emotions on one thing. And it's only like a glimpse of it. You know that's when he decided, like, yeah, I'm going to sacrifice Rosemary's womb for this. And that's just amazing.
He can just taste the thrill of getting to work with crutches in that great role on Broadway. It just makes me think about, like, what he's talking about. This is such good making fun of actors movie.
Yeah.
This is one of the ultimate reading to actors to filth movies ever. His eternal grumpiness and dissatisfaction from the get-go, despite the fact that they are affording this insanely huge apartment on a one-income actor's salary. They literally hire a fucking bartender for their party. It's what?
As somebody who's married to an actor, I can tell you there's not a lot of money in it unless you become super famous.
Right. I mean, he is doing the Yamaha commercials, which apparently him and Polanski both got Yamaha motorcycles.
That's cool.
And we're tooling around on it. But they didn't really like each other that much. But yeah, just it's a tough role. I'd get to work with crutches. It just took me back to this one time when I saw this play, The 5th of July. It was like a community theater production, so it wasn't particularly good, sorry. And it just opens with, because it's all about post-Vietnam and stuff, and this guy just comes across the stage slowly on these crutches. And it was the opening scene of the play, and I'm just like, oh God. I just knew this was not going to be a fun evening. Crutches, man. They're a bit of a crutch, if you will.
Yeah, or like anytime an actor's like putting way too much effort into some physical movement they're doing,
right,
where you could see them trying to drum up sweat on their forehead or something.
As opposed to, hey, look at me at Pharaoh. This is an amazing physical performance. The waddling and whatnot and shit.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But Cassavetes. So
yeah. Can you explain who he is to people who are not familiar with who John Cassavetes is?
We still haven't done a Cassavetes movie on this podcast, which we will do several.
Yeah, we talked about a Cassavetes movie in one of, what was it, Best of
74.
74?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
The end of the year episode
it was on
last
my
year.
list.
Yeah. But yeah, we haven't covered a movie yet for a full episode. But yeah, tell us about him.
Seminal figure in independent film, not just producing independent productions like William Castle did, but kind of creating the film grammar and the style that we think of, rough around the edges, semi-improvisational, shaky cam stories about weird characters. A lot of them featured his wife, Jenna Rollins. But Cassavetes himself was also an actor. Had a couple of notable roles, but I would say this is his most famous role as a performer.
So he was like very anti-method acting. And when I was reading specifically like his take on it, I was like, that sounds like method acting to me still. but he liked to prioritize small feelings and raw relationship dynamics.
Physicality. He's into creating, designing characters more than the... So a lot of people think about method acting as Daniel Day-Lewis and these extreme experiments in character identification. Call me by my character's name. So that's not really method acting, and that's not the method acting in the actor studio that he was against. It's more this obsession with using your own emotions and doing emotional recall and stuff that he thought was a little self-indulgent.
Yeah, and he also was a big proponent of expressing joy rather than moodiness in his acting. And I think you can see that for sure in his performance. And I know what he means about like the moodiness in some of the method guys. Yeah, his character is joyful in a very annoying way, but it's good that he's annoying.
He and Polanski clashed because he was already pretty established as a director, and Mia Farrow said that he was so intimidating because of who he was that she never could even call him John. She called him Mr. Cassavetes.
Really?
Yeah. And
she's I have to say, she seems like she was the type of woman who would really just let herself be very influenced by the men in her life.
Polanski talks about this too, where he says that, and this is the kind of thing that you get out of Polanski when he talks about stuff that makes him sound perhaps less feminist, which again, is this movie feminist? I don't know. We can talk about that. It's concerned with women, but...
Right. It's not the same. Like, being concerned with women and women's health is not exactly the same as being a feminist movie.
And being a woman. Like the movie is really about... There's all these touches about how women are in the world, I would say. It's very well observed. But feminist, I don't know.
Sure.
Polanski said that he thinks sometimes men can direct women easier because they like to be led around, is what he said. Like they won't fight you in the same way, like as a dance partner, the way that men will fight you.
Ugh, that's
and
so gross.
Cassavetes was definitely fighting him in this. And because, again, he's also a director and one who has a very specific style that was largely based on, famously, improvisation and going for weird stuff. And Polanski, who himself was also an actor, he would act out the scenes for you and say, this is how I want you to do it. And he would never talk about the scenes as this is the idea of the scene. He would just do what he wanted you to do. And you could put your own spin on it, but he's just kind of showing you exactly. And Cassavetes was, I think, felt being puppeted around like an action figure and probably felt that he had his own ideas of what he wanted.
From my understanding of actors on set at the time, I feel like most actors would be annoyed by that.
I'd never mind it. No, it's this whole thing about line readings. Yes, I have, when I was directed by a community theater director when I was younger, this one guy, he gave insanely specific and nitpicky line readings where he's obsessed. The notes that he's giving are just hit this word this way. But a line reading can be extremely helpful to me as long as there's the understanding that it will be inherently different coming out of me as it is coming out of you. And thus, it will be coming from me. I will be still authoring it in that way. But also just, I don't care. Tell me what to do. If I'm not... Obviously, I don't want you to do it for every single thing. But if I'm not getting it, give me the line reading. And I certainly don't mind a director who's shooting tightly choreographed shots in this relatively confined space saying this is how we're going to shoot it, and this is what I want you to do here. This is what I want to see. It's a movie. It's not the same as the theater. I'm just not troubled by this. And Uta Hagen, the acting teacher, says a story about George Abbott, who is a real classic showman, louder, faster, funnier kind of director. And she got really bothered by the fact that he was giving her line readings. And so then eventually to rebel, she just did the line reading exactly the way that he said. And he was like, no. I'm not saying say it exactly like me. Just do what I'm doing. that make sense?
Sure.
I'm explaining it to you by giving you the line reading, but you don't have to mimic me. I think actors get a little too touchy about a lot of stuff, if you want to not pull on this thread, but I'm definitely kind of anti a lot of the weird etiquette and stuff that actors have.
But actors, it's like
they're touchy.
I've
I've
seen you pre-performance where you have to be in a very specific mindset, and I get that because you have to be on stage in front of people. People are watching you, like so much rides on you.
Right.
I know
no
that's
one's
different.
watching the director.
That's different from theater versus being
Film
on set
where
at a movie.
people are watching the director.
Right, but again, like still there's a lot of pressure there because a lot of money is going into the shoot, and if you go overtime, that's bad. So, I mean, this shoot went 3 weeks overtime and $400,000 over budget because Polanski was so meticulous on set. But I do feel like actors are very particular, and even though you're not particular about that type of thing,
I'm particular about other stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
I guess. I'm just not really. I could go on and on about the stuff that you get taught that I think honestly prevents people sometimes from giving good performances. If I'm really laying my cards down on the table, I think that a lot of times people let touchiness make the work worse because it's all about them and not about telling the story. But anyways.
One story I read about Polanski directing that made me so angry is there's a scene where Rosemary is just walking into New York City traffic, and Polanski insisted on her actually walking into real New York City traffic. They weren't hired drivers or anything like that. He was like, don't worry, nobody's going to hit you because you're wearing a baby bump. Like, nobody would hit a pregnant woman. He couldn't convince any of the cameramen to film it because it was dangerous. And so he filmed it himself using a handheld camera. And I'm like, that's so fucked up. Putting her life at risk like that just because you think it'll be cool. And it's like not even that good of a shot. And it's like not that memorable of a moment in the movie. And you put her life at risk for that? That's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, no, obviously it is. I mean, they were people just into this back then. It's the same thing with French Connection. They were doing all this stuff where, I mean, what did you want him to go another 3 weeks over budget to get the shot, huh? Mia Farrow talks about it.
If necessary, yes.
Mia Farrow talks about it in a very, like, she didn't care way.
Well, I care on behalf of her.
I also love the idea that, like, she's pregnant. It's like, obviously, if you were looking all skinny and shit, then, you know, all bets are off. But
sometimes I feel like the way Mia Farrow talks about
pretty weird.
her experience on that movie, I feel like she kind of says how great it was just out of spite, because then she says, like, that was the only great movie I was in, and
right.
Polanski was the best director to work with.
Yeah,
like,
she's defended him about all kinds of crazy charges.
I know, and I feel like she does that out of spite against Woody Allen, and I'm like, it's so weird that you are like
I know.
defending one rapist when you're accusing the other director of rape.
And
like
Polanski is a rapist.
Right.
Like, this is
just straight up is.
This is undeniable.
Yeah.
Right? And quite creepily in a way. And like not that there's a non-creepy version of rape, but it's bad. Ereal bad stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mia Farrow's like gone out of her way to defend Polanski, a known perpetrator of this crime, against her ex-lover.
Who she may or may not have.
Gray area, yeah.
She may or may not have made up the rape charges. It's whatever. We don't have to litigate that.
Sure.
Yeah, that's just weird to me. But
she's a weird lady. She also adopted 14 kids.
Yes, that's weird.
Do you think this movie fucked with her? Made her be obsessed with having kids?
I don't even want to think about what contributed to her personal pathology, but
we're coming down very hard on Mia Farrow.
I know. I'm sorry.
She just won her first Tony, though.
Really? On what?
Yeah, for The Roommate. Another movie about, I guess, New York real estate.
Oh.
Another play.
Speaking of real estate, let's talk about the sets. So we have to give a shout out to Richard Dick Silbert, the production designer. Mm-hmm. He's this like really big New Hollywood guy. He did a lot of production design for huge movies in New Hollywood, like The Graduate, Chinatown, Carnal Knowledge, Shampoo. And he had a major role in shaping Rosemary's Baby. He was one of the principals involved in production. Like, he was treated that way, with that level of respect. There's some commentary tracks that have Polanski and Robert Evans, and they also have Dick Silbert on there.
How much better do movies automatically look with a bunch of fucking books just laying next to people. Open books, people reading books, sitting next to books. I don't know. I just love it. How much better is it to have somebody researching witches from a book than on their phone?
Yeah,
or on a computer?
Such a good texture. Sam and I have an apartment it's a shitty little apartment, but it is covered in books stacked against the walls, like no bookshelves, just stacks and stacks and stacks of books. And I think it makes our apartment look pretty cool.
Yeah, that is probably the coolest aesthetic choice that we have.
Yeah.
But it's not even an aesthetic choice. It's just we like a lot of books.
Right. And we had nowhere else to put them. But no, I just think the sets are really lush and so well designed. And I love, we were talking before about old versus new, and I love the comparison of when they first tour the apartment. It's like this dark wood, antique furniture. It also looks great. And then they paint over everything when they move in.
Wallpaper really
white.
does make it better.
It's just like, I liked it better the way it originally was.
Yeah, probably.
And that's maybe just changing tastes over time. But they make it look so chic and new and bright. Very modern, obviously, in comparison to how it used to be. And then they still have that comparison of old versus new when you see the Cassavetes, their neighbor's apartment versus theirs. And I just love how they're able to bring in that theme just through the sets. Yeah, the cinematographer, William Fraker, said that the sets were so great, they could like shoot from anywhere in them because they were so well designed. And so that gave it a lot of freedom of movement while they were filming.
I don't know if New York apartments were ever like this. I mean, it's more like a Brooklyn apartment.
It's too nice.
It's too big.
Yeah.
It's fucking massive. They have all of these rooms. Again, he's an unsuccessful actor.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just super impressed with.
It's beautiful. All of the
sets.
textures. Look, there's just, she wears a robe that is like a quilt. The bedspreads, getting some steak out of some wax paper and frying it up in the pan. It's the kind of thing where it makes you want to read the book and eat the steak.
Yeah.
And try the weird drink that they're talking about.
We watched Apartment 7A, the prequel movie, in preparation for this, as we mentioned. And they clearly put a lot of effort into the mise en scène, trying to recreate the look of the movie and, you know, lots of furniture and books. And they were going for that lush look, but there's still just no comparison.
Well, it's too dark in Apartment 7A, and they're going for more of a horror movie vibe.
Yeah, and I bet part of it, though, is also it's not filmed on film,
right,
which gives it that nice grainy texture. But also, they don't have Dick Silbert. I wanted to say something else about the sets. One of the first days shooting was like at this handheld shot of Mia Farrow walking down the corridor of the apartment. And camera operator David Walsh recounts that, you know, at the time, or maybe even still is the case, like when you're shooting a woman in particular who's like a star, you don't want to use a wide angle lens because it makes her face look bulbous. So they put on a 40 millimeter lens and some diffusion.
Yeah, we couldn't possibly have Mia Farrow's face looking weird in this movie.
And that's how they were going to film it. And they showed Roman Polanski, and Polanski was like, no, I don't want those lenses. I want a very wide angle here. The cinematographer, Fracker, he was like, but we're shooting the star here. Why do you want a wide angle? And Roman said, because I want the apartment to be another character in the story. Mm-hmm. I want it to always be overwhelming Rosemary. To have it even curve, if we can do that. So the walls are enveloping her. And that's cool that he was like specifically thinking about it in those terms.
Well, he was into that.
Yeah, like I watched the movie Repulsion.
Oh, you did watch it?
I did watch
What'd you think?
Repulsion. I thought it was good. I mean, I'm a huge Catherine Deneuve fan.
Right.
And I can clearly see a lot of similar themes, so I can see why the Paramount people thought of Polanski for directing this movie. Polanski even did this thing in both movies where both movies feature like a neighbor playing piano in the background, which I thought was just funny. But yeah, like in Repulsion, the apartment's cracking around her and stuff. So
what do you feel about the use of music
in this movie?
Yeah. This has got to be the origin of the creepy laws.
Oh, the laws are funny. Yeah.
Well, but funny now, you know what I mean? I think that might be something that plays different now than it would have.
I didn't find them scary.
Well, no. Well, I'm not scary, but that's such a cliche at this point.
Right. Yeah.
The opening curly Q, pink lettering, and laws.
I like the choice.
Yeah.
I think it's fun.
Yeah.
But I think it also lends to the funny thing that Pauline Kael was talking about. Let's put the laws in right now.
We all knew we were going to put the laws in.
I can't remember the other music in the movie, though.
No, I mostly talk about the laws.
Okay.
And the
At the end that we talked about before.
But yeah, it's all funny. The terror comes from, or there is no terror. It's just this feeling of boredom and being unsettled and not being listened to. And also, I guess the big scary thing that I assume, I mean, like, this movie's got to be in some ways your ultimate nightmare. The idea of us getting ensnared into a weird friendship with old neighbors.
Oh, yeah, I could relate to that hard.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to talk to a bunch of old people.
What if we got sucked into going over to dinner, and then all of a sudden I wanted to go over there all the time? What would you think about that?
I would just not join you. And I would think it's very annoying that you put me in that position. If you're choosing to develop a friendship with people you know I don't want to hang out with that much.
So am I never allowed to hang out? Am I never allowed to make old friends? Is that going to put
not in a
us?
way that is going to have the expectation that I'll have to be there a lot. But we're pretty good about like having separate lives when
true, yeah.
they don't overlap.
I guess like when I'm going to Grateful Dead shows a lot of the time, I'm hanging out with old people.
That's true. Yeah, no, you can have as many old friends as you want. I'm just not going to be friends with them.
I don't really want old friends.
Okay.
I mean, I'll take some old friends.
I just want to say, like, it's a very particular type of old person. I don't want to be.
And it's not this type?
No, it is this type. I just don't want to be like alienating any of our older listeners. I'm aware that I'm a bad person for having this opinion. Okay.
No, but the movie has the same opinion.
Yeah.
The movie recognizes it as a universal truth that nobody would want to have this happen to them.
I like that Rosemary's like, what the fuck,
Yeah.
guy? Why are you suddenly wanting to hang out with those old people?
Right. There's just so many great little moments of drama where she's getting the chocolate mouse and he goes to get it from the door and she's by herself and she's like, don't invite them in. Don't invite them in. And then he doesn't and she's like, yes, thank God. But little does she know that was the plan all along.
I liked that the house guest of the Cassavetes who jumps out the window or like is found on the sidewalk dead. Terry. When Rosemary talks to her, this is very modern feel to the movie. She's like, yeah, at first I thought they just like wanted me for some sex thing. And just the idea of her like blatantly saying that, the concept of
Just telling a stranger that she thought this.
yeah, or just like acknowledging that couples are into weird sex stuff like that.
Right,
That's
right.
a 60s movie thing. And it was fun. Like that, and their mention of marijuana. I'm like, oh yeah, this is very much a 60s movie.
Yeah, well, right. I mean, Polanski was a 60s guy. But yeah, the movie's also taking place in 1966. So you have 9 months or so between when she sees Charles Grodin. And in the interim, he's grown a little 60s mustache.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, he's having some fun. This is Grodin before, not only before he's Charles Grodin, but seemingly before he's figured out what the Charles Grodin thing is.
What would you say the Charles Grodin thing is?
And I guess he is basically doing the same kind of ultra serious, grumpy guy, but they talk about him in this movie as like the one girl is like, oh, isn't he cute? Which I guess Grodin's
He's kinda cute.
Grodin is cute.
Yeah.
But do you think they're presenting him as a bit of a drip as a doctor compared to Saperstein? He's just kind of standard doctor. Like
Yeah, I
he's not
think
supposed
so.
to have any personality. The mustache is the closest thing to him breaking out.
Oh, but I think he's also supposed to be presented as smart so that when you think that he's on her side, it's like, that's because he's smart, but then he's not on her side.
He seems pretty annoyed that she's calling him in the
Yes,
first place.
that's true.
Which is, but I guess that's meant to be, oh God, another one of these women.
Yeah. Okay, so if people aren't familiar with Charles Grodin, what's his like big roles? And I know his name, but I can't remember what is he in The Heartbreak Kid?
The Heartbreak Kid and Ishtar. He's
Who's he in Ishtar?
Elaine May guy. He's the CIA guy. He's really funny in Ishtar.
Okay.
But Beethoven, the Beethoven franchise. Did you ever watch those movies?
Like with the dog?
Yeah. He's the father who's getting his perennially Beethoven is getting his goat.
Oh,
gotta clean up
I don't
after
think I
him.
watched those movies because I didn't like the dad yelling all the time in the trailers.
Right. Yeah. He kind of had this 90s renaissance of being a comedy annoyed adult.
Yeah, I don't like those
And
kind
then
of
Clifford,
comedies.
yeah.
No, when it comes to dog movies, Air Bud was my movie, and
You want the
not
dog to be a
Beethoven.
hero, not an anti-hero.
I don't want everybody to be like annoyed at the dog all the time, which happens a little bit in Air Bud. But anyways,
What do they get annoyed at Air Bud about? Because he loses a game or he shaves points or
I
something?
feel like he like destroys the house at one point. He's all wet, and he like runs through the house, and the mom's like, "No." I feel like he probably also messes up a basketball game at one point.
So is that like before they realize his talent, before they can tell what he's going to be able to do?
I just want to say I watched it again recently, and that movie fucking holds up.
Really?
Okay?
You know what? I could maybe rewatch Beethoven. I haven't seen it since I was like a child.
I could be forced to, but I can already tell you because of Charles Grodin's performance, I'm not going to like it. I want to talk about the costumes in the movie because we talked about production design, but like the costume design, I mean, Rosemary's outfits are fucking iconic. So much so that they really inspired quite a lot of runway looks, apparently.
Yeah, with they're going for a plainer look too. She's very unflashy.
But it's still so stylistic.
I know.
It's like high fashion.
Yeah, I mean it's Mia Farrow also.
Yeah. I mean, it's, the twiggy look.
Ruth Gordon's outfits are cool too.
Yeah, because
One
it's like
point she-
gaudy, but like
Yeah.
appropriately gaudy.
Right, she kind of has like a Rosie the Riveter outfit one time,
Oh, yeah, with her like hair up in
Yeah.
a scarf.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, totally.
which makes sense because that would have been more her era.
Yeah. The costume designer is Anthea Silbert, who is not married to Dick Silbert, the production designer. She is in-laws with him because she was at the time married to his twin brother, who was also a production designer.
You think they ever switched?
I don't know. She like, I remember hearing some quotes from her about like describing the two brothers, and they just seemed like they were like really full of personality. The brothers did definitely switch on set sometimes if one of them like was late or something, or like couldn't make it that day, and they'd never get caught. They did that kind of thing, but switched in bed. I don't know. But
you
it sounds kinda
you gotta always be thinking about that as a twin, right?
right, especially if you have a working relation, like, if you're close, because she
If you
worked with,
marry a twin too, you gotta always be wondering if they're gonna do it, right?
Yeah, like,
you have to expect
to.
it to happen once in your life,
Yeah.
probably, right? At least
that it would happen.
you have to just be on guard. You have to assume that it will happen.
No,
once.
because, like,
I
the
think you have to
twin-
go into. I'm not saying it will, but I'm just saying you have to go into this with that assumption.
Why
you have
would
to
the
go in with your
twins-
eyes open if you're marrying twins.
Why would the twins want to do that?
Don't they like to do all this everything together sometimes? Like, you know.
I don't know. Twins are kind of weird, but
Okay, old people, twins, anybody else that we can
alienate and offend.
keep talking about Mia Farrow.
Yeah, Roman Polanski made good movies, but Mia Farrow,
Right, exactly. I know.
She's the bad
I'm
guy.
not even a big Polanski fan.
You're what?
I'm not even a big Polanski fan in general. Maybe I'm becoming more, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that objectively he's a good filmmaker, but like, it's not like I love Rosemary's Baby and he's a bad guy. So, and I liked Repulsion, but really I just like Catherine Deneuve in it. But yeah, so Anthea Silbert, the costume designer, she, like I said, had a working relationship with Dick Silbert where they like worked together on 8 films. But she did an amazing job on the costumes, and she's Oscar nominated for her costuming on Chinatown.
Yeah, how many people carried over to Chinatown from this?
I don't know.
A bunch. The editor, Sam Osteen.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, it seemed like a lot of... Is it just a Paramount picture?
Yeah, it's Paramount.
Okay, so I guess
But
that
also,
makes
but
sense.
also it's Polanski. Like this is his first English language film, so this is where he's collecting his team, or not first English language film, but first American film, and this is where he's building his team for the few years where he was allowed in America.
Yes. But anyways, Anthea, she had the Oscar nomination for Chinatown and then also Julia, movie from 1977. And she worked on other films like Carnal Knowledge, Shampoo, The Last Tycoon, Heartbreak Kid, A New Leaf. Worked a lot with Elaine May. Both of the Silberts became studio executives. So Anthea transitioned to a studio executive in 1979 and was one of the few female studio executives of
For
the time.
where? Did they go to different studios?
Yeah, I think so. Anthea was a studio executive at Warner Brothers and United Artists, and then she later co-founded Silbert Hahn with Goldie Hawn, and where they produced Overboard and My Blue Heaven. And so she was a successful studio executive. And then Dick Silbert, he took over Robert Evans' job as head of production at Paramount.
Right.
He is probably the only person to make the jump from production designer to head of production.
Polly Platt could have.
Oh, that would have been cool. But yeah, apparently he just like walked into Evans' office one day and Evans was like, "Do you want this job?" But he produced Looking for Mr. Goodbar and Nashville. But ultimately he went back to...
one of those movies.
You like one of those movies? Mm-hmm. But he went back to production designing because he felt like the studios were just like chasing money and hits and he preferred doing real art.
I'm obsessed with wanting... I need to meet a production designer. They seem like the most important thing ever. I'm just increasingly obsessed with all of these roles in film that I think a lot of them have largely gone by the wayside. Just great production design is so rare. Lighting is another thing that it just feels like whatever happened to these people? Like, where did these people go? I mean, I guess a lot of it has to do with it's got to be a certain kind of just really smart person who was talked out of going into the arts by the sort of increasing obsession with making money or STEM or whatever. I think that there's a certain kind of smart artist, craftsperson that feels like it really only was a thing in this time. I mean, obviously there's great production designers always, but it just doesn't feel like... I mean, this is a movie set in a fucking apartment, and yet it looks incredible, right? This shouldn't be a setting where that makes you think... And, you know, these costumes are just fucking regular-ass New Yorkers. There's nothing flashy about it, and yet so much is gotten out of it.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. Of course, like any aspiring artists or artists that I know, they always want, like, the flashy roles like
cinematographer,
director, or screenwriter, or whatever. That includes both of my partners, you and my other partner. I think it's probably always been the case that those jobs weren't ones that like people aspire to. So I think the better question is, what was it about the 70s that cultivated the role of a production designer, for example?
Surely it had to do with a certain amount of studio money being available. But also I do think that it probably was connected to people thinking of themselves as artists, but not wanting to be the director. Thinking of film as an art form, but at the same time also a job in a way. Like, I think there's like more... I don't know if there's more separation, or like I think there's increasingly an obsession with... Maybe it's like the auteur theory getting even... Like, I think everything is being put in the hands of the director when there should be maybe more delegation going on. I don't know.
That's true. Like,
know?
the 70s is kind of when the auteur theory really became a big thing, I would say. Is that true? The French critics in the 60s were the ones who kind of came up with it, and then Andrew Sarris.
Yeah, well, and we've talked on this podcast about how we're a little bit director-centric, but that makes sense because we talk about 70s movies, which is really when they became the stars.
So it does make sense that prior to that, the other roles in filmmaking were given more respect and acknowledgement, perhaps, and therefore more talent went towards them.
I have no grand unifying theory about this, but I mean, again, it also is just, as I said, books look cooler than computers. The shit that they had to work with in this time, weird little nativity scenes, fucking paintings of fire. People had strange items around, and there's nothing unexpected that you're going to see in somebody's house in a movie now. There's very little character that you're going to find in most sets now.
Oh, I don't know. I think that they totally could build character in. I think
you just don't, though.
Like, yeah, but I think it's just because they just, budget? Like you said, don't have the production designer on board.
Or the budget.
Sure.
Right. And also because stuff maybe looks weirder on digital film.
And then the thing that bothers me so much is that nowadays the whole background is just built with like CGI or something like that.
Yeah, which looks terrible.
And it looks bad. And it does not at all take the place of a real set that's properly designed.
That's been filled up with a bunch of tchotchkes.
Yeah. We watched Apartment 7A, the prequel movie, in preparation for this, as we mentioned.
Apartment 7A sucks. Can we take a second to talk about how much that movie fucking sucks? We live in a time now of legacy sequels and prequels.
Unfortunately.
And we also live in a time of Paramount Plus as a streaming service.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Can I tell you, how many times has it been that...
For now, by the way, there was just the Paramount merger. We'll see what happens.
We have a Paramount Plus subscription. Actually, my mom pays for it. Thank you, Mom. So I'm I'm not paying for it, but my mom pays for it.
You're complaining on behalf of your mom.
Yeah, this is unfair to my mom, okay? She pays for this Paramount Plus subscription that I use. And we go to watch movies that are on Paramount Plus. The quality is so bad. The picture looks bad, and the streaming speed is so much slower than other streaming platforms that it's like the movie's skipping. And so then instead of watching it on Paramount Plus, where it's included in subscription, we go to Amazon Prime and rent it on there to watch it. And that's not okay. Fucked up, man.
So this movie is classic Paramount IP that they could play around with.
So they're like, let's make a movie based on it.
Yeah. Have you ever wondered what else these herbs could be used for? Perhaps a cream that you could put on some dancer's leg to make it feel better.
Okay, to be fair, I have wondered what the deal was with Terry, like the girl who
Yeah,
was
but
the
this
previous
just gives you a
house
terrible
guest.
explanation.
I agree. They could have
and
done
a complete
it way...
retread of what we already did with Guy.
I know. That's the thing. It's just like it was exactly the Rosemary's Baby story again, but just merging together Guy and Rosemary into one character. And they didn't do anything different, and that was so lame. They could have done something totally different, but they didn't. Terry, she didn't have to be also impregnated by Satan. Like, it could have been something different involving Satan.
Well, yeah, they make it the same movie as Rosemary's Baby, except they make it scarier. Like
not
quote
even
unquote
that scary.
quote unquote like they add more scares. They make it more
Right.
of a by the numbers horror movie with silly jump scares, and you're seeing Satan in a mirror's reflection or whatever. Certainly could have done a lot more with the female reproductive side, since we live in a time when you could presumably show a lot more and get more into that. They have an abortion scene, but guess what? The baby doesn't want to get aborted, and it kicks the abortion doctor away.
Yeah.
That's what they got for us for this supposedly timely new take on the horror of female reproductive rights.
I didn't think that they brought anything to the table with that movie.
No, there's no character dynamics. It's boring. Everything about it is prequel-y. All it is just the origin of this thing or that thing. They show her getting the charm that she got. I guess this movie could work better as just a standalone horror film than a prequel. It would just be derivative, but then, plenty of movies are derivative of this. I basically think I like it less than Exorcist Believer.
I kind of agree, because
Yeah.
Believer was at least trying to do a different thing.
It was the most pointless prequel, as I said on my Letterboxd.
And then they tried to do this empowering dance sequence.
Oh, God,
at the end,
I hated
and it
that.
just really didn't work.
I never need to hear Be My Baby in a movie. I'm serious. I'm fucking sick of that song. As it's like the 160 song people know. And I get that it's Baby or whatever. But why would that kill the baby if the baby's capable of kicking an abortion doctor? Like, can't it just float her back into the window? And like, they could have made it something where she's, I don't know, they just could have made it maybe she's being tempted. And maybe she turns evil, and she's struggling with that. But they didn't do it. They did the same kind of slow burn. She doesn't really know the deal until the end, except, with a lot more horror jump scares. And like, they don't even have her talking to Rosemary. Even they have them passing by each other in the laundry room, because they know that if they had that scene, it would make no fucking sense, because it's a completely different character in the Terry in the original Rosemary's Baby than in the one they make her into.
Yeah, like in the original movie, Rosemary, when she's talking to Terry, she later says, Terry seems so happy. She wouldn't have done that. And you are supposed to believe that that's true. And that when Roman, the neighbor, is like, no, she got depressed every 3 weeks, because of her period.
Her period, yeah.
That Rosemary is supposed to be suspicious of that. But then in Apartment 7A, it's like, no, there was something going on.
An old woman came into her apartment and came at her with a knife.
Right.
And tried to kill her.
She was dealing with shit.
Something was going on.
Yeah. And she had this leg issue. And she seemed like she was really struggling in Apartment 7A.
Just incredibly non-60s seeming acting. And do you think they picked Diane Wiest for the Ruth Gordon role as another kind of weird Mia Farrow Woody Allen connection? Because they did a bunch of Woody Allen movies together, and she actually replaced Mia Farrow in Bullets Over Broadway.
Oh,
when Mia Farrow was supposedly wanted to still be in that role, according to Woody Allen. Anyways, I wasn't rooting for her. She was fucking dumb, and I am an actor, and none of this would tempt me. The carrot that they're putting out there of being in this terrible show. It's just choreography and bad music. It's just this fake idea of what people dream about being a dancer, being an actor. It's also the cliche of the dancer story. It's always the same.
Black Swan.
Black Swan or whatever.
Yeah. So shocker, we didn't like that movie.
I thought it was
Who would
really
have thought?
bad.
What are some new Hollywood aspects of Rosemary's Baby to wrap up?
Well, as we say, like, it created this template for what horror movies would become in the early 70s.
This elevated horror, moving away from the B movie thing, more of like a smart, more of a psychological.
Yeah, well, and very specifically, like, rich people dealing with a child who's Satan. It's all the same. Like, Exorcist, The Omen, Don't Look Now. This affluent couple or affluent situation, and it's classy. They have to take horror from the schlockiness to a more A-picture mode by making the people literally live in a really nice apartment.
That's funny.
Then, of course, horror settles into more of the suburban slasher kind of thing. This is a trendsetter. This is incredibly important in the careers of many of the figures who are all new Hollywood figures, such as Bob Evans, for one, is a big one. This made his career. This was his first big success. And
Right.
then this also saved Paramount, until Love Story. Do you think they're ever going to make a Love Story prequel? Like, who are the people they dated before?
Probably not.
Who are the awful people that they dated? Like, what else? Paramount does not have that much IP that they could mine in this way.
Another new Hollywood thing, like the old versus new, like commenting on changing times, and the focus on reproductive
Yeah,
health.
showing stuff that you couldn't show before.
Yeah. And talking about things that they don't normally talk about. And not that I think that women's liberation and feminism is a thing that comes up a lot in new Hollywood, but it is certainly...
It's a horror trope.
It is a horror trope. Yeah, it comes up in horror films specifically.
It's pretty violent, at least in that one part where Terry's...
Oh, yeah, Terry's body on the ground. And, like, conceptually.
Again, it's got a lot of New Yorkiness.
Sure.
So even though it was shot on a soundstage, I don't know. It's weird because it's a new Hollywood movie, but it's also part of its own thing because you got a European director.
Yeah, this was his first U.S. film.
But he's a new Hollywood director.
Right.
You've got
he becomes one.
He becomes
because of
one.
this, yeah.
And you've got Mia Farrow, who this is kind of her biggest new Hollywood movie.
She's more of like
a
a 80s actress, right?
The other big new Hollywood thing that I think of with Mia Farrow is like she's Daisy in The Great Gatsby adaptation, which is bad and like also kind of not very new Hollywood. Ruth Gordon, though, total new Hollywood icon.
Yeah, because of Harold and Maude.
And this.
And then, like we said,
Cassavetes, too.
all those other people involved, like the Silberts, they're big in New Hollywood world. Sam Osteen, the editor.
He was editing The Graduate, as we said.
Yeah. William Fraker, the cinematographer, who, he didn't do a lot of the big New Hollywood films, but he did Dave the Dolphin, which keeps coming up on our episode.
Polanski, he wanted to direct Day of the Dolphin.
That movie is so ridiculous.
It was a hot script.
I can't wait to cover it. I can't
yeah,
wait to cover it.
Same.
But Fraker also worked with Ralph Bakshi. He did Heaven Can Wait. So yeah, there were just like people involved in the New Hollywood scene in this.
It's more about the people involved rather than the aesthetic. Still has a kind of. I think of Polanski's. I love when he's like the only person who can do double exposure stuff and make it look cool and not silly. And yet, I think it still has a kind of European aspect to it when he does that shit.
Can you tell me when he does that in Rosemary's Baby?
I mean, just in the dream sequences and stuff. Like he'll have things superimposed on top of other things in a way that's kind of trippy, but it's just like it's not very American.
Those scenes to me really felt like European avant-garde.
Yeah,
like
right.
Louis Benuel or like...
He's very influenced by that.
Yeah.
It's also early. They were making it at the same time as Bonnie and Clyde and The Graduate were coming out.
Yeah, right.
So
it kicked it off. But again, the fact that it starts the elevated horror concept and this specific niche horror thing that the 70s films were mining.
It's part of the Paramount story, too. Is the huge.
And the Paramount story, yeah, is absolutely a new Hollywood film, 100%.
Yes.
Cold Stone scale?
So Cold Stone Creamery, they size ice creams in the following way. They call a small a like it, a medium a love it, and a large a gotta have it. And so we have appropriated the scale to call a movie that you like a small amount a like it, a medium amount a love it, and a large amount a gotta have it. Or we say it doesn't even make the scale if you don't like it even a small amount, I guess. Although I'm sure, have there been movies that don't make the scale that you like a small amount? Or does that truly mean you don't like I guess the idea is you don't like it at all.
No, I think like Airplane, I said I don't like it. Like it doesn't make my scale.
I think that was a weird rating in the first place, though, too. But
no, because I kind of liked it, but ultimately, like all the puking and stuff and this sense of humor. Yeah, so you can like something a little bit and then not make your scale.
Okay. So I gotta have Rosemary's Baby, personally.
Why?
I definitely like it a lot more than The Exorcist. And it was a movie, and like Suspiria. I feel like, Exorcist, Rosemary's Baby, and Suspiria, those are kind of the three quote-unquote best horror movies canonically. People, for a while, they would say of all time. And now I guess you could just sort of say of this renaissance of horror in the 70s. I've always felt like The Exorcist has a big drop off at a certain point. Suspiria is cool, but also kind of annoying, the aesthetics. And Rosemary's Baby is beautiful, interesting. I love all of the actors. It's a wonderful chance to get to hang out with these performers that you don't normally see, and yet you should. I love the humor. I actually kind of wanted to read this thing that this person wrote on Reddit about, it was kind of long. I do think that people who don't like Rosemary's Baby, I think it's like weird to not like Rosemary's Baby. And maybe you're about to present this perspective. I just do think there's this weird point missing that people do sometimes with this movie. So I'm just going to read this like post that this person wrote on Reddit. It's several paragraphs long, so bear with. Rosemary's Baby, only for those who have watched it. I'm sure you guys who've watched it must have many differing opinions. And here's mine. First of all, Rosemary's naivete was so frustrating, and so was the husband's ignorance and stupidity. Felt a slow rage build up throughout the film's progression. This film does so well showing paranoia, fear of the other, mob mentality, and human unhumanness. This is poorly written, but it actually captures human unhumanness perfectly, from the paranoia slowly manifesting into when Rosemary was forced into bed and forcibly sedated. Everyone was so cruel to her in varying degrees. The film is actually a great piece of film. However, I do have one thing to say about it. That is the ending. They made it actually a satanic cult, which drops the whole paranoia thing completely, and not even in a proper way. It's hard to put into words, but the ending definitely ruined many aspects of the film. For example, it's no longer real. I could no longer reflect myself with the movie. Rosemary's Baby is legit the devil spawn. On a separate note, Rosemary should have expressed her rage at the end, when she came into the room with a knife, breaking the ice of the whole situation. Then, bloop, the ice comes back with nothing significant. She saw her baby without eyes and didn't even try to exact revenge. Bloody Christ, she had a knife in her hands. Least she could do was slit the throat of the guy who orchestrated the whole thing. Yet she continues to be submissive to the whole patriarchal thing. It's a bad look for women. And unrealistic, too. She should have really gone insane. Who wouldn't? It could have been a great ending. One, it could have ended with her never knowing whether or not her witch hunt was real, thus ending the movie on unending paranoia, which could have trailed off into the real world of the viewer. To accomplish this, the movie would have had to really drive her character insane, but at the same time, never giving out more information than needed to keep the paranoia heightened. 2, the movie could have ended the moment she saw her baby. The extra dialogue at the end was doing more harm than good. A little mystery helps the imagination.
Okay, so I do have thoughts about that. Like I said, I do think that the ending scene is a little silly. So I do think it creates a weird tone to bring in that silliness, and maybe could have been ultimately better with less of the dialogue at the end. So I do maybe agree about that.
Interesting.
I also agree that the ending makes it not feminist, because she ultimately just is a victim. She does not succeed in avoiding anything. She doesn't overcome anything. And she decides in the end to just revert back to the ultimate mom.
So it would be more feminist
role.
if she killed the baby?
Sure, yeah, like a doll's house style. I mean, it's not like she kills the baby in a doll's house, but doing the anti-mom thing. I honestly, yes, I do think it would be more feminist if she kills the baby. But I don't need everything, but I don't even know if that would be feminist.
Yeah,
but
I just think it's looking at her as a symbol of womanhood too much. Sorry.
No, but as the person said, she could have killed somebody else who was there,
That would be less interesting to me.
No, I agree. That's the thing. I don't think it's a feminist ending. I don't need my movies all to be feminist, though. So I don't care about
it hinges
that.
on that, though.
I think the endings are important in terms of ideology.
Okay.
I just I agree with that, But that doesn't, to me, make the movie, like, lesser than.
I also think there's an assumption that there's unintentional humor happening at the end. I think it's all very on purpose.
Well, I think it's a weird choice.
Part of it is like Polanski did want it to still not be clear whether or not there are like that it really is Satan.
That was the other thing I was going to say. Yeah, he wanted it to be ambiguous. To me, it doesn't read as ambiguous at all.
But they're so silly about it.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think that makes it more ambiguous because they're silly about it?
I think that if you came into the end and they were all in their fucking robes and conjuring a magical being, that would make it less ambiguous.
I think that there is a different way you could have the ending to make it more ambiguous.
That's true too. But my point is the fact that they're just being regular people. They're like, "Hail Satan!" I think that still makes it. Maybe they're still fucking crazy, you know?
No, for me,
I do read it as literally Satan. I will say
that seems more real to me that they're like, "Hail Satan!"
Yeah,
because they're like, it's not that bad. You'd get to have more kids. You know what I mean? Like they have real reasoning. Like they're just real people who were convinced by this thing. To me, it's not ambiguous at all, which is fine. I don't need the movie to be ambiguous at the end, but I agree that the choices that the movie makes make it. They're kind of just like telling you the way it actually was the whole time. When throughout the film you're wondering, is it this or is it this?
Right.
And it's like Repulsion, his movie that he did before that, he did a better job of walking the line of questioning what is and isn't real.
Well, he said he didn't like that the book made it explicit. And that was why he didn't show the baby. He said it still could just be her subconsciously remembering those eyes she saw in perhaps just a dream.
Right.
You know?
And I just think he's wrong about it achieving that effect.
It would kind of take a bit of the power of the reveal away if it wasn't Satan. Because I don't think I'm left with ambiguity either.
Yeah. I don't think anybody is. I don't think most people are. I just don't think that that's how the movie's read.
Sure.
To people.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, my rating, I like the movie.
I knew it.
I'm sorry. I just like...
I don't care. I'm not that precious about it.
It's not scary to me, and it's also not super psychologically interesting to me because they, again, as I've complained about before, they don't show enough of Guy being weird. So it's just Rosemary telling us that she is weirded out by certain things without us seeing why she's weirded out by his behavior. So I wanted more of that, and I was just... I wasn't bored watching the movie, but I think of the movie as a little boring when I think back on it and when I think about watching it again.
I just think about their faces, and I just I could watch John Cassavetes make faces and Mia Farrow and Ruth Gordon make faces all day long.
You're more entertained by acting than I am.
That's true.
So, but I think it's a good movie. So
if
that's
you
why
like acting.
That's why it's a like it. You know, like it's not like it doesn't make my scale.
Yeah,
I like
right.
it.
Yeah, you're right.
So yeah,
kind of what I figured.
I'm a wet towel, Debbie Downer.
No, it's fine.
Boring, lame.
I don't think this movie is that huge for people.
It has such a huge reputation.
Well, no, but I mean, no. Like I think it is considered great by a lot of people, but I don't think it's. I think people love The Exorcist still more, or maybe not. That one's also kind of lost its prior sheen.
Horror film is so weird. It's people's favorite films in the horror genre are usually the ones that scare them. And so things change so much.
Like
what
some of the
isn't
stupidest
scary.
shit is the scariest stuff.
Like what?
Just stuff that's not considered that good. Like it's kind of not that hard to scare somebody.
Yeah.
In a way.
Like you mean the
cheap? Cheap, yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like a lot of horror fans, I hear them talk about like, oh, they just had a bunch of cheap jump scares. You know?
Yeah.
So I do think that a lot of horror fans do really appreciate scares that are earned. Yeah. I think that's why Weapons is so popular right now, is because there aren't that many jump scares and the horror is not reliant on cheapness.
But that's also got the same thing, which is just great characters and great acting.
Yeah. That concludes another exciting New Hollywood adventure. Thank you all so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to Kale Your Idols on the podcatcher of your choice. Please take the time to leave a rating or review. It is extremely helpful for small podcasts like ours. We'd love to hear from you, so please reach out to us on Instagram or send us an email to kaleyouridols@gmail.com. We want to say thank you to the Illuminator for our logo and thank you to ourselves for everything else. Please join us next episode where we will be joined by David Heath from the podcast Cinema Chat to discuss the neo-noir crime thriller The Friends of Eddie Coyle.
Hey, Peter Fonda, how did we do?
We blew it.